Okay, in the next few sections, we're going to look at a whole bunch of additional functions that are just going to round out your Excel skills. But in this lecture, I want to introduce you to the Alt shortcuts because I use them a lot, and that way you'll have a solid understanding of what I'm doing. Now, when you're using Excel, a lot of people will take the mouse and go to wherever they want to click, and they'll go to menus like these. And you'll click Insert, and then click again, Insert Column, or Insert Rows, or Insert Sheet, and then you'll go back to your sheet and continue typing. But the thing is, your fingers are already on the keyboard, typing numbers or typing data into your spreadsheet, so it's much easier to use keyboard shortcuts to do the same things. So let me give you a few examples. Let's just type the word data into a cell, and we'll use a keyboard shortcut to insert rows and columns. So one way to do this is to take my hand off the keyboard, grab the mouse, find Insert, and navigate through the drop-down menus. Or, after I've typed in my data, I can just hit the Alt key, and when you hit Alt, it brings up all these little black squares with letters in them, showing you where the shortcuts are. So H is for Home, N for Insert, P for Layout, and all of these shortcuts bring up the tab that you're looking for. So if I hit Alt and then I want to see the Data tab, I just hit A, and that brings up all the data tools. So I'm going to hit Escape to get out of that, and let's insert some rows. I hit Alt, H for Home, I for Insert, see it's way over here, and then R for Row. And actually you can't really see that there's an extra row. So let me put in some more data so it makes it more obvious. Again, I hit Alt, H, I, R, all one at a time. I don't have to hold them down, and you can see a new row. And see how fast that can be? And notice that in our second cell in column B, it's much narrower than it should be. And one way to fix that is to grab your mouse and go to Format and Auto Fit Column Width, which works, but let's hit Control Z and undo that. Another way to do it with the mouse is to double click right here. That also works. I'll Control Z again to undo that. But if you want to use a keyboard shortcut, you hit Alt, H, O, the letter I. And if you have it memorized, it's super fast, but even if you don't, it's still faster just because you already have your hands on the keyboard. So that's how to use the Alt shortcuts. But let's look at another favorite shortcut, and that's the Control 1 shortcut. When you hit Control and the number 1, it brings up the Format Cells dialog box. And you can even navigate through this without the mouse by hitting the tab to go to the list of things, or you can just hit the arrow keys on your keyboard to navigate through the different tabs. So that's a really good one. You can hit tab and change which type of formatting you want to do. You can also get to it by hitting Alt, H, O, E, or simply hit Control 1, which is much faster. Okay, so let's change this column back using Alt, H, O, W. See the W there? Hit that, and we'll change it back to 8. Now let's say instead of widening the column, we want to just wrap the text. And you hit Alt, H, and then there's the W up there. That wraps the text, and if I do it again, it turns it off. Now the cool thing is, if you know where things are with your mouse, all you have to do is hit the Alt key and then look at the keystrokes. Essentially, Excel is teaching you how to use the shortcuts. So it shows you F for File, H for Home, and so forth. For example, if I hit F, then I hit S or A, and I can save my project using the Alt keystrokes. And it's a lot faster than using the mouse. And to clear the shortcuts, just hit the Escape key. And the coolest thing about the Alt shortcuts is that they can be typed with one finger on one hand. You don't have to hold down the Alt key while you're hitting the H key. You just hit Alt and then release, and then hit H and then release. So it's easier than doing like a Control Z where you have to hold down the Control and the Z together. So that's just a little introduction to how to use the Alt shortcut keys to work more quickly in Excel.